on this occasion, on this very important occasion. This occasion that we are here for today is to address Troy Anthony Davis issue. As you all know, that Troy Anthony Davis is on death row and has been on death row since 1991. And we feel that he is unjustly on death row, with 7 out of the 9 eyewitnesses that have recanted their statements. The state of Georgia is still bent on going through with this execution. And on May the 9th, Senator James held a town hall meeting and a prayer vigil to share light on this injustice that's going on with Troy Anthony Davis. And at that town hall meeting and that prayer vigil, we had about 250 of Georgian citizens saying that the state of Georgia should not go through with this execution. We want the governor to know that it's wrong. It's wrong to go through with this execution to execute or assassinate or murder a gentleman that all of the evidence is pointing towards that he did not do the crime. We're calling on Pardons and Parole Board to review the information and be fair and honest. That's what we want the chairman to do. Look at the information and just be fair. Do the right thing. And so at this point, I'm going to turn this press conference over to Senator Donzella James, which she has been working very hard. She has decided that she's not going to do what's popular, but she's going to do what's right. And what's right is seeing justice for Troy Davis and all of the other Troy Davises that's in jail that has been convicted wrongly. That's her mission. And so, Senator Donzella James.
I want to thank you, Mark Bell, with Bell and Shine Civil Rights Organization, because you have been diligent on this effort as well as anything for justice throughout the country. And you're right, we had 250 people to emerge upon the Capitol just a few weeks ago, May 9th. And they all stood because Troy Davis was condemned to death for a 1998 murder of Savannah police officer Mark McPhail. And you know, I am definitely on the side of police officers. My son is even a police officer. And I definitely appreciate all the hard work that they do when they put their life on the line. But who really killed this man? I err on the side of justice. Yes, throughout the country, there are many individuals who stand wrongly accused of crimes that they didn't commit. Sadly, children are growing up without their mothers and fathers due to flaws in the criminal justice system. Law-abiding citizens are losing valuable years in the workforce with their families and missing out on some of life's biggest joys, all in an effort to keep those who are supposedly guilty behind bars. Make no mistake, should someone break the law, they must be punished for it. However, when a person is being held in the prison system here in Georgia or anywhere in the world without sufficient evidence, justice is not being served. The eyes of the world are upon us right now. This is not something that these state senators and other leaders from Georgia are talking about, but we have so many others. Nobel Prize winner Archbishop Desmond Tutu urged the courts to agree to hear evidence of police coercion and recanting testimonies. An appeal to Governor of Georgia at that time, Sonny Perdue, urging him to spare Davis's life, was sent on behalf of Pope Benedict. And similar appeals have been made by singer Harry Belafonte, Sister Helen Prejean, author of Dead Man Walking, actor Mike Farrell. Amnesty International is working very, very hard on this issue. ACLU is working very, very hard on this issue. They have been working for many, many years. They have gone to all of the appeal courts over and over again, and now they say he has used up all his appeals. On the last appeal court, when 7 of the 9 original eyewitnesses who were his friends and in the pool room with Troy Davis, when they recanted their story, facing perjury, because they had originally said that he was the culprit. And now they're saying, this man is innocent. We do not want to have the blood of Troy Davis on our hands. So they have come back. And the 2 who did not recant, one of them is the one that everyone said was the only one that had a gun and who was like a gang leader. His name is Red Coles. He is the one that has been bragging and boasting for many years now that he actually did the murder. There are several witnesses. The appeals court said that was not new evidence. The appeals court said that those people were unsavory and but they had no forensic evidence in this case 20 years ago, almost 21 years ago. They had no evidence at all, except for those witnesses. So if those witnesses were credible enough at that time, then why are they not credible enough now? Not only Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr., Reverend Jesse Jackson, Congressman John Lewis, and it's about 20 other names on this list of congresspersons who have stood for this man to be released. Congressman John Lewis spoke to the Georgia Board of Pardons, the real killer, and he had gotten evidence from different people. Pardons and Parole is the only one that can turn this around at this time. That's the only people, because the Georgia law took away the ability for the governor. However, the governor has clout because the governor appointed everyone on their pardons and parole. So, Mr. Governor, we appeal to you today to do the right thing, to look at this case once again. Let pardons and paroles look and do their job, and let justice be served. I could go on and on with all the many people who have changed their stories. I'm appalled that this type of treatment has occurred in our state, and I will continue to be a vocal proponent of just judicial reform so that we can assure that only the guilty will remain behind bars. We were waiting for Reverend Jackson, and Reverend Jesse Jackson Sr. Is having a conference right now, but 2 of his great leaders are here, Robert Patillo and Senator Gail Davenport, who is part of Rainbow Push as well, will come and speak to us. And if he comes, we will stop and let him speak before we hear from the NAACP, the People's Agenda, and Sonjay Yo, a human rights organization. Thank you. Mr. Patillo?
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Of course, Reverend Jackson sends his apologies that he will be unable to attend this morning if he indeed is not able to make it out of his previous conference. But I would just like to make brief statements on his behalf. Reverend Jackson has supported the cause of Mr. Davis and has looked into this on a national level. On the broad sense of justice, it's very clear that a human being, an American citizen, should not be executed by his own government with insufficient evidence. As has been stated previously, 7 of the 9 witnesses in this case have recanted their statements. There's been no gun, no murder weapon, and no other evidence presented. But yet this man stands to be executed very shortly. The reason that we fight this fight is because the fight for Troy Davis is a fight for the values of America. That the American people fight for justice. Justice in the sense of knowing that your government stands behind you and will not execute you when you have not indeed committed a crime. On this sense of justice, Mr. Davis needs all of our support, all of our help, and all of our understanding to push forward the agenda of freedom, push forward the agenda of emancipation, puts forward the agenda that a free man, an innocent man, should not be executed where there's insufficient evidence. With that, I turn the floor over to Senator Davenport. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good morning. Before I became a state senator, we were advocating for the release of Troy Davis. If there is one strand of evidence that says that he did not commit this crime, we want the court system, we want the governor, we want the Partners Parole Board to give him that opportunity. No one who is guilty should be freed. But if he is innocent, and we believe he is, then we feel that he should be given a chance. We don't want to kill an innocent man. So I stand here today as a Georgia State Senator advocating for the release of Troy Davis. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And now our NAACP leader, Mr. John Evans of DeKalb County NAACP.
Thank you so much. This Troy Davis situation is very difficult to deal with. And you know, we always think about what justice means. In the past, justice has meant what? Just us. And we want to try to change that. And what it is, had it been a black police officer, this case would have been over. This case would have been over. And even though it's a white police officer, the very fact that 7 out of 9 recanted is sufficient enough for the parole board here in Georgia to look at this case again with an eye towards some justice. You know, if you make a mistake on death row, you can't correct it. So you need to take everything you can to try to prove the case before the final gavel comes to rest. And that's what I would be concerned about. Parole board, let's get on the case. Let's not be cowards. Let's look at the new evidence and bring this case to justice. Thank you.
Janice Mathis of the Rainbow Push has said that later today, Reverend Jackson will be available for interviews if any of you want to interview him. So we will give you that information. At this time, I'd like to call someone who definitely is a friend of law enforcement. You see, he was Atlanta's first public safety director. He was a police officer for many, many years, and now he's working with the People's Agenda. And Dr. Joseph Lowry could not come this morning, but